Hello, welcome to Palace Fan TV for our review of, well, it's a combined one of Everton and Arsenal, because the Premier League are clumping as many games together as possible for us at the moment, which of course makes our lives at Palace Fan TV a little bit more difficult. But we're here anyway. We're going to review the draw of Everton and the draw of Arsenal. Draws all around the house at the moment. I'm Jim Daly. Of course. Oh, and first of all, thank you very much to everyone that voted for me for Fan of the Year. I did not expect that at all. No one had told me anything about it until the nominations came out the other night from the Supporters Trust. So if you did vote for me, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. I believe voting is now open for the award. So if you're that way persuaded, then please do as well. But the other 3 nominations look great as well. So if you want to vote for them, that's absolutely fine. I very much appreciate all your support. It's very, very kind and was not expected at all. So thank you very much. Right, Palace against Arsenal and Everton. To be honest, I'm going to skim over the Everton game because it was a bit of a sort of a nothing game, really. I mean, Palace played quite well. Probably should have won. Played a lot better than they did against Norwich when we actually did win 1-0. But just had one of those days where we just couldn't score. I played on Sunday morning. I played for my new Sunday team. We won 5-0, and the opposition fullback who I was marking at one point said we could play until next week and we're not going to score. And they were right, because we won 5-0. And that was exactly what Palace was like against Everton. Better team. They went down to 10 men. We did what we didn't do against Liverpool, which when they went down to 10 men, which was take hold of the game. We looked great going forward. We peppered them with shots on goal. Robles made some good saves. And we missed a few, and that's just the way it goes. Sometimes you have that kind of game, and you just have to kind of take the positives, which was we looked good going forward, we looked solid at the back, it was another clean sheet, and we probably should have won. So there's not really too much to say from that game. The Arsenal game was bizarre, really, because we never get anything from Arsenal, especially away, and we didn't play fantastically. I mean, we were quite solid. We had hardly any possession. They had all the ball, but before they scored before half time, they didn't actually get that many shots in. And in fact, they had one that was blocked and went over for a corner, and then Özil got in behind the fullbacks, and Hennessy made a good save. That was their first shot on target, and that was about 40 minutes in. We'd already had a couple of shots not on target, but we had Wickham headed over. We had a couple of sort of pops at goal, and then they scored. I think probably against a run of play, really. Maybe that's being a bit generous given that they had a lot of the possession, but we were certainly sort of looking good, I think, to go in at the break at level. One little bit of quality, a nice little ball from Welbeck and a good header. Hennessy sort of comes out in no man's land, but really I don't know what else he can do. Suarez, who was having a really good game and probably one of his best games, in second half he carried that on, lost Sanchez, for a split second. Sanchez is so good. And Suarez actually, I think, did well to marshal him most of the game, but he lost him for a split second. In he goes, and that's 1-0. You could look at Jednak giving the ball away, sort of dallied on it a bit in the middle of the park. But, these are things that are going to happen away at Arsenal. But we got back into it, and we were sort of, again, quite solid second half. Hennessy made a couple of good saves, but it felt a bit like, for the first time in 2016, in 2015, the games at the start of the season, every video I did for Palace Fan TV, I found myself saying, no matter what happens, we're always in the game. We always feel like we're still in this game. No matter whether the player's going against us, we're more resolute and solid and confident. That hadn't happened in 2016 at all until the Arsenal game. That was the first time I felt in the second half we're still in this. Even though we're not getting anywhere near as much possession and we're under pressure at times, we're still in this game. And it proved to be the case, because Yannick then popped up with a fantastic goal. He hasn't done anything for 80 minutes. He's been having one of his worst games, but the guy's got quality. And he pops up with an absolutely fantastic shot from the edge of the area. Maybe should Czech have done better? Who cares? It goes in. It's a great goal. It's a famous point for Palace. In my lifetime, I've never seen Palace take a point off Arsenal at the Emirates. So that was fantastic to be a part of that. The fans were amazing, obviously. And it's a point that probably all but takes us safe, I think, and means we can probably concentrate on the cup. Although obviously we've got Man United in midweek, another midweek fixture. It'll be interesting to see what team we put out for that. I've just done a preview on Full Time Devils with the lads there previewing the game, so check that out, because I wasn't sure what team Palace would go for. I think he might drop a few players, Pardew, but I think he'll probably still, because of injuries, have to pick a fairly strong team. One player I think that might start, and I think who's been fantastic in the last 2 games, is Adebayor. We've been sort of writing him off, and I personally have been, because the sort of gamble of signing him hasn't really worked out this season. But against Everton he came on, he was fantastic, and against Arsenal he came on and he changed the game. He was one of the few players that was carrying the ball out of defence, relieving pressure, looking to use it, and just, maybe it's because it was Arsenal away and he wanted to impress, but he was just looking like he was trying to actually make things happen. And the goal came from him getting the ball, carrying it down the touchline, looking for the man, playing it simple, and then Yannick shoots. Saka had come on before that, and unfortunately for Saka, yes, he's got a thunderbolt of a left foot, but he takes so long to control it sometimes. And he'll then look to try and get rid of it quickly, that the play sort of breaks up. Adebayor just got a bit more experience, knows how to use it, when to dribble, when to play it. And I think as a result, that helped us get back into the game. So will he play against Man United? I think we'll see him involved, possibly starting. I don't know, but to be honest, I'm looking forward to getting the United game out of the way and concentrating on next Sunday, which is Palace in the FA Cup semi-final, of course, which we'll be doing loads of content around. So that's it. That's me done for Jim and Jay's final say. Here's Jay from the Eagles Beak with his thoughts on Everton and Arsenal. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Of course you have already subscribed. But if you haven't, click that button. Comment below with your thoughts on the Arsenal game and the Everton game, of course. Who was your man of the match? For me, for Arsenal, I think it was probably Damien Delaney, although Hennessy came close, I think. And for the Everton game, I think it was Mile Jedinak, I think, who was very good, although Kabay was excellent as well. So good. Some of our players that haven't quite been there finally getting some good performances in 2016. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Here's Jay from the Eagles Speak, and I'll see you again soon.
Hey guys, welcome back to Palace Fan TV. This is Jim and Jay's final say, and we've got 2 games to cover because we weren't around for the Wednesday game. A little bit tight to get the 2 videos in. So, looking back at the last few games, and it's amazing what a few results does for a team, really. I thought at Everton on Wednesday, I'll start with that one, we showed a bit of confidence in the first half, playing with the ball nicely. Puncheon looked excellent. Jedinak had a really good game again. Kabay. First off, we actually play some of our best football, some of the football that we kind of saw at the start of the season. And then, as the game progressed, we should have really got into the break at least, a goal ahead, perhaps 2. We probably deserved a 2-goal lead, but it wasn't to be. Second half, very disjointed, I think. Once again, a red card for the opposition. It seemed to hinder us more than it did Everton, really. And I've played football and played against teams, and it seems to be a bit of a psychological thing where if you lose a player in a game, those players tend to make up for that extra player for large periods of a game. And I think if we'd have taken advantage of that quickly and got a lead, then it probably would have been a very different outcome. But once Everton got themselves sorted out in terms of what how they were going to set themselves up after losing McCarthy for his second booking, I don't think we really worried them too much. And I think we looked a little bit lost trying to get that goal. But before the game, I'd have taken a point. I said going to the game that to keep the points in the table ticking over, I'd have happily taken a point from an Everton side, which they're not too different to us this season, really. Only a few points out. I think if we'd have won that game, we'd have gone above Everton and Watford. Shot up the table a few places actually. And obviously they've reached FA Cup semi-final as well. So kind of very similar to how we've done this season. So a point it was. Perhaps disappointed that we didn't get all 3 points. Probably a little bit critical as well that we didn't actually look to look threatening enough. I think Adebayor looked very good when he came on. For a big guy, has very good feet actually, and he kind of played behind the striker and kind of created a few things. He was on the end of or tried to get on the end of a couple of headers. Puncheon had a great chance actually, which I think he probably would have normally buried, but he played well in that one actually, and the game before. So unfortunately we didn't get all 3 points. Sometimes that goes against you. Just a little bit of a concern that red card kind of tends to favour the opposition a bit more than it does us, but maybe that's something we need to work on if that particular scenario arises again. But a point it is, and then takes us into the game today actually at the Emirates. It's a fixture that we've rarely done well in, to be honest, against Arsenal. I think it's something like 22 years since we actually got a win against them. But today I thought, we've got nothing to lose with the underdogs again. It's been a while since we've kind of had that tag, against us. We've struggled this year, but we've started to put a few results together. And I certainly before the game wouldn't have put it past us to get something from the game, a point even. But and so it proved. I mean, the first half, nothing. I think if you weren't an Arsenal fan or a Palace fan, then it probably would have bored you a little bit. I think the first chance came for us actually after about 25 minutes with Yannick Bolasie forcing a save out of Petr Cech. But it was a real kick in the teeth, and when we conceding that goal right before the break, bad time, really bad time. And it was a bad mistake really, a mix up between Yannick and Dan. Allowed Sanchez to go, to get in there and finish it off over Hennessy actually, as it turned out. And you kind of think ominous signs there, and Arsenal will come out second half and push for that second goal and kind of kill us off. But it never really came. Talking to Arsenal fans since then, and it seems to be a common theme that they like to play with the ball, likened to how teams play in the Liga actually. They probably suit them playing in the Liga. They don't seem to have or know how to finish teams off as such, and unless it kind of works for them. I think we foiled them on quite a few occasions. Our back four stood firm. I think Joel Ward struggled a little bit, but Dan and Delaney in the middle were excellent. Suarez had a good game as well. But I think the turning point for us was Adebayor when he came on. I mentioned that he came on and did well against Everton. Did the very same today. The pantomime villain got booed when he came on, playing against his former club, Arsenal, obviously. But he picked up the ball in his own half and ran down the wing. Very good feet, actually, like I say, for a big guy. And, pass it to Bolasie. And Bolasie, that shot, probably a little bit speculative, but, Cech probably was unsighted from that position. And to see it go in, I was off my chair because it was quite unexpected, the way the game was being played. Kind of expected Arsenal to get a second, the way it was working out. But it's fantastic to see us get an equaliser. I think we looked, it gave us a bit of a lift actually. And Zaha was on the pitch as well, and he had a couple of great runs down out wide and very close to putting Sacco in, who would have had just the keeper to beat actually. But I think we ended the game. There's a few nervous bits towards the end, but Arsenal didn't really create an awful lot. Hennessy had a couple of saves, but came for a few crosses, which was good actually because he played well against Everton and did what he needed to do against Arsenal today. So that sees us 4 games unbeaten in April. Obviously only one win in 19, but on 39 points now. So I think that makes a lot of Palace fans breathe a little bit easier now, particularly with some of the other results at the weekend. So I'm pretty happy today. We got a trip to Old Trafford on Wednesday, which Pardew has perhaps said tonight. I think he was going to play some of the fringe players to give him a chance to make that Cup semi-final team on Sunday. So we'll see. Interested to see what sort of side he picks out for that. But it's funny, isn't it? You go through a horrid run of games like we've had, and then we end up getting something out of 4 games in a row and being unbeaten and starting to show some signs of how we were playing earlier in the season, particularly against Everton. Not so much today, but again, it was a dogged defensive display today. You can throw all the stats at people all you want. Possession for Arsenal today was far better than Palace, but unless you really have those clinical strikes on goal to put the other team under pressure and perhaps get those goals, then something like this is going to happen. The longer we held out, the more I was hoping we would get a chance, and that chance came from Yannick, which Yannick didn't really get into the game at all today. Really struggled with that, but ends up getting the goal. It's funny how football goes, isn't it? But we look forward to the United game on Wednesday, see what that brings, and then obviously the FA Cup semi-final, which is very, very, very exciting. So we'll see how things pan out this week. By all means, leave your comments underneath this video. We'd like to know what you thought of these 2 games, Everton at home and obviously Arsenal away today. If you haven't already, subscribe to Palace Fan TV on YouTube. Palace Fan TV, we're also all across social media, plus Snapchat as well. So make sure you follow all across social media. And we'll be back, I'm not sure if we'll be back after the United game or perhaps after the semi-final, but you'll catch us on here again very soon. Thanks for watching and chat to you soon. Cheers, bye.